Welcome to KoozaCast, where we interview some of the most influential people in tourism from around the world. My name is Graham Watson, and I'm the founder of Kooza Global. The word Kooza means a new dawn, and in 2023, we want to find out just how our guests are working towards that new dawn. Join us and subscribe to future episodes as we hope to inspire you with stories of strength and resilience in the tourism industry. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of KoozaCast. Today, I am honored to have with me Chantal Potgieter, who is the founder of Themba Travel, based out of the United Kingdom. How are you doing today, Chantal?
Doing well, Graham. I'm very honored to be on your podcast. You are such an entrepreneur.
Thank you.
Inspiring.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so nice to hear. And we met on the app Clubhouse, which I've spoken about on other podcasts. And it's been great to have met during that time when we were all in the travel industry and locked down and looking for comfort and advice. And I think we found that in our little tribe on Clubhouse, which was great. So lovely to have met you in person at World Travel Market last year as well in London. And let's hope we are in a good business relationship for many years to come. I'm sure we will be. So tell us a bit more about Themba Travel, how you started it, your journey from South Africa that brought you to the UK, and just a bit of background on who you are, what makes you tick, and off you go. Thanks, Chantal.
Thanks, Graham. Well, I am a Cape Townian.
Lovely city.
Born and bred and buttered, as they say in Cape Town. Household of 4 children, parents from very humble beginnings. I lived in a very small little township, as they call it, in Cape Town. And I have always loved traveling. I think my father has instilled that quite early in our lives. It's actually quite precious because actually last September, my dad passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
I remember, I've always told this story when I've been on interviews, how the first trip that we've ever done, and the only trip, and the trip every year, Graham, was the trip to Oudsthoorn.
Lovely little town.
Because he was from there, and his family is from there, and every year we went to the same aunt, and we visited. But it was exciting because as children, we in a VW yellow combi, and we're all in there, and we take on the roads very early in the morning. And I think the times that you stop, to sit under the tree, and then the other stop is along some beautiful mountains, really made me so curious about traveling and, just where the road takes you. And I've always loved traveling. And when I finished my studies in Wellington, Huguenot College, I did my degree in youth development. I had opportunity also to travel with a team of young people across South Africa. So we went into very small little quaint little towns up the Northern Cape, Eastern Cape. And again, I was fascinated about the different people groups we have in South Africa. You come in almost a desert land or in the Karoo, and there's a special breed of people. And really, I wanted to do travel forever, but I didn't have the opportunity. I worked for many years as reception work, administrator. Until a couple of years ago, I started working for a travel company in South Africa in the beautiful town of Somerset West. And I was there for about 2 years. And we decided as a family after that, we would want to come and venture out into the UK. It is our second time around being in the UK because we lived here many, many years ago. But we decided to leave and go back to South Africa because we wanted to raise our children And I think it was a great decision because the boys are all grown up now, but they have that foundation of
Mm.
family and community of South Africa. So we've been here it's our fourth year now. I started Themba Travel about 3 years ago, just before lockdown. We were
Yeah.
all so brave to
Yeah.
start businesses. And then, yeah, the next 2 years, as you know, we spent on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
We spent virtual meetings, but I wanted to, I suppose, be visible. So I was constantly busy with whether it was interviews, whether it was interviewing my suppliers, whether it was showcasing who we are all. There were no bookings coming in and no trading really, but I still try to be part of panels on discussions about traveling, about sustainable travel. And yeah, last year was the first year that we all came out of our slumber, and it was wonderful because I had my first few bookings, which was exciting.
Great.
And
That's
here we
awesome.
are. And here we are. So I'm looking forward to a lot more bookings.
Yeah, yeah. And what is Temper Travel's main focus? I know you're very much on the women empowerment track. You feel that that's very important, as it of course it is. And then
Yeah,
helping the small and medium enterprises. That's what you want to focus on as well.
absolutely, Graham. And Timber, don't know if you know, your listeners might know, means hope.
Mm.
It's Xhosa for hope. And that's really what Timber Travel is all about, really exploring places of hope, I would say. South African journeys that is inspired by hope. And it's really to go to those very small little quaint towns, or as you said, empowering women in the tourism industry. So really choosing and being intentional about who we use in our supply chain, because the context of South Africa is really we still need a lot of growth and development and really transformation even in the tourism industry. And I felt my background and just my life story, I think for me, it was just I was compelled to do something for smaller operators, for communities. And so we focus really on community based tourism. And it comes in various ways. We do volunteering holidays because for many years I've also been, volunteering in many non-profit organizations. Um, and I've also been a founding member of a radio station, a community radio station in the Western Cape, and I just love community and I love meeting people and especially young people and really see that, with them and just their innovative ideas that we could form beautiful travel experiences for travelers. So the focus is on smaller communities. The focus is really on, yes, being able to bring in work for smaller women operators in South Africa, and I must say, I've absolutely enjoyed it because it means I could work with women in South Africa, and in my small ways, being able to empower them, but also the stories of communities, to elevate those stories and to bring it to light. Because I think South Africa is known for so many different things, whether it's our beaches, whether it's our wines. And I really just want to focus on our smaller communities and our local people and what they can bring to the industry.
That's wonderful. That's great to hear that that segment of the industry does have a champion in you, and I'm sure that it's come up a lot in the podcast. It's that need to help and assist those, you know,
Mhm.
as well. So, I mean, how do you ensure that the leisure offering showcases the true culture and beauty, and in like in an authentic way. You have to find that perfect balance, don't you? You know, with
Absolutely.
the bucket list, Table Mountain, cable car, the safari, and all that, and you know, so it's a great creative challenge for you, I'm sure.
Yes, it is. I think, as you say, those are the things that tourists really want to see. We don't want to take that away from them. We absolutely, Table Mountain. I mean,
Mm,
imagine going to South Africa, not being able to see that or not being able to go on a safari. Of course, we would love to make our travelers' dreams come true. And I think indirectly, how we empower the people is in our supply chain.
yeah,
Directly, I do have, even with our leisure travelers, a couple of hours in the morning, say they have a 7 day trip or a 9 day trip. So a morning of those 9 days, I'd love them to go and look at some of our projects that we are involved with. And it's not a show and tell. It's not like you coming and smiling and taking photos. It's really you getting stuck into it. So whether it's a community garden, whether it is ladies that does sewing work, and the ladies actually does our welcome pack that we do give to our travelers. So whether it's one of those, just to spend a couple of hours there assisting, asking questions. Of course you can take photos and all of that, but really just giving them an insight about what our communities do.
mm,
So there's an indirect way and a very direct way that you can see community products. One of the things that you will be exposed to is probably eating a home cooked meal with a local lady in Paarl or a local lady in Kayamandi outside of Stellenbosch. Just having that authentic experience. I think the last time we were at Jenny's, she did a babooti. She
lovely,
served it with the South African wine from the region. I think it was one of a Spier um, wine estate, one of their wines, and just she just shared a little bit of stories of how she got started and why that traditional meal is loved by South Africans. And, it's just exposing travelers to that real kind of local living.
throw in a
So,
hot Melva pudding with melted ice cream, and I'm there.
so something like that. Yeah, she had some dessert as well, but it wasn't Malfa. And it's different, Graham, because we had it at her home.
Yeah,
I mean, it's lovely that we have our travelers booked into beautiful accommodation and guest houses. And I must say, South Africa, wow, we do have some beautiful places. But there's also that element of home.
yeah,
And where you can actually see how people live as well. So whether it's a morning, whether it's 2 or 3 guided tours that exposes travelers to the local people, we just put that together in the itinerary.
yeah. No, I mean that's fantastic. I mean it's helping the community, and it's also helping the traveler themselves feel, yeah, like they've had a far more immersive experience in the country. There's a definite shift, I
Yeah.
think, in terms of sustainable tourism and giving back as well. A lot of I noticed a majority of people that come through to me, and I'm sure to you too, definitely want to have that. It's not it's yeah, I mean, I just think that,
Mhm.
yeah, being able to experience all aspects of a country is great.
Yes, I've just 2 weeks ago I met with clients, and they they do, obviously you hear what they absolutely like, what have they heard, what do they really want to do, and they are golfers and they would love to play golf, and of course, our country has beautiful golf estates as well. Um, but I shared with them about this morning at a community project, and of course, they shared with me what kind of work they do, and I could identify one of our 4 projects where I thought would be a good fit for them just to go see, go give a hand on the day, and they were they were beside themselves. They were
Mm.
so excited. I mean, I think we spoke so much about just that morning at the project. They could relate. They are in the profession. It's our health project. They are in the health profession, and they were really. They said, "Well, This is what we want." They said, "This is. We don't just want, the 5 star or whatever. We want some of this as well." So I think, yeah, we're onto a good thing, Graham.
I think you are. I think you definitely, and three years or 4 years old when 3 of those years have been during a pandemic. I mean, technically, your business is only a year old, so you are in the infant stages. Absolutely,
Yeah, I'm a startup.
you're absolutely a startup because
But
you've
it's
only you.
amazing, Graham, that, when I started Themba Travel, this was the big idea anyway for me. And I think the 2 years of COVID, the 3 years, brought that to light.
Mm,
So for me, right from the beginning, this was my passion, this was my heart. I knew it was going to be a challenge because we haven't heard about it much,
mm,
a couple of years ago. But COVID, I mean, something good has come out of it because people are so aware of wanting to make impact socially, environmentally, where they go. They want to see that host destinations actually benefits as well from a trip. And so I couldn't be asking for more. I think I'm at the right place.
mm-hmm.
Um, it's going, as a new business, it goes slow, and I'm riding that slow wave because I'm taking every day as, I'm very grateful for the bookings that come through. But yeah, this is what I want to do. I don't want to change it, and I don't want to totally abandon what I
No,
was set out to do.
no. Please don't. It's. I think the recurring theme that's come from a lot of my podcasts. In fact, I presented to a group of young entrepreneurs this morning that are in the Sigma International program in South Africa for young travel entrepreneurs. It's run by the National Department of Tourism, and I presented on my portfolio of products that I represent in the UK with Kusa Connect, and the don't give up mentality has to prevail because it is hard, and I think the younger generation, because of social media, have that instant gratification need, and if something doesn't work within 3 months, it's throw it aside and start again. Absolutely not. I think
Mhm.
it's you're in for the long haul. I think that if you want to start a business, you are in for the long haul. Some people wait years for the big break, and obviously it's important to see if it's absolutely not working at all, and maybe tweak the idea a bit, but stay true to yourself. And it's also about networking. We discussed a lot, and as
Yeah,
getting on Clubhouse, we've met each other. We hopefully can work together to collaborate. It is about networking. It's about being out in the digital sphere and the physical sphere as much as you can. And as I'm sure you just have to be present in all
yeah.
forms. Yeah.
You have to be out there. I think it's been quite a challenge, obviously, living in the UK because you're not known and you're
You will
just
be
starting
soon.
up.
Keep the faith.
And
Yeah.
you are starting out. But I think the more I've said yes to, whether it was virtual meetings, whether it was panel discussions, whether it was podcasts like this, I think this is my second one for the year. um, you know, my voice, I feel it needs to be heard. I take it not for granted. I take it with great responsibility because I I'm not giving a voice to the women of South Africa because they've got their voices. I'm merely elevating their voices, and I
Yeah.
want to make their businesses known. And expose people and travelers as well and businesses to the potential that South African women in tourism have. So you're right. You need to be out there. Um, I've I think last year I was just writing something on LinkedIn, and a South African lady. We got to know each other over LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And when I went back to South Africa in February last year, they invited me to come and visit, and they are part of the Women in Tourism Cape Town chapter, because there's 9 women in tourism chapters in South Africa, one
Mm.
for each of the provinces. And it was such a special time because I was in a room. They had their first meeting for the year. I was in the room with almost 100, Graham, 100 tourism entrepreneurs, whether it was
Beautiful.
transport, whether it was accommodation. And I just felt I was in a room of gems,
Yeah.
and I almost even saw that this would be my supply chain.
Yeah.
Because I could literally ask anything. I could ask for a tour guide in that same group. I can ask for transport in that same group.
Mm.
So for me, the potential is there. The women are there. Are we making use of it? And definitely from the UK side on my business, I would want to make use of the women in my supply chain. So there's loads of potential, and they are there.
Yeah, no, I mean, definitely. I mean, I suppose one of the challenges that you can hopefully offer your members of your supply chain guidance with is trying to be compliant with the UK law when it comes to health and safety and all that kind of stuff. So how have
I
you been
must,
able to assist there?
yeah, I think, I've Themba Travel has also become part of, a member of the Travel Network group just recently. And I had to upload all my suppliers, Graham.
Mm.
And there were a few questions on the forms that
Yeah.
I thought, would our ladies be able to answer this, And I think I had to ask them a few questions, and I had to say to them, these are small, micro, medium, solo entrepreneurs.
Mm.
Don't ask me, questions that really doesn't apply to them.
Mm.
But I think, and this is a challenge, as you say, to get our ladies and their businesses compliant, registered, vetted.
Mm.
And I have to say, working within the Women in Tourism chapter, you would find those women there. Their businesses are registered, their
Yeah.
vehicles are serviced when they do a transport um, service. So already in that group of ladies, you would find women that has all the credentials. And I mean, it was a bit of a to and fro. Please fill in this form when I send it to them. There's certain terminologies that I didn't understand. It was just a quick call on WhatsApp. I said, no, that goes there, that goes there.
Mm.
It takes a few more explanation, but once it's done and once they are uploaded and once they are accepted, they are my suppliers. So I do
Mm.
find I need to do a little bit more. And of course, working with my safari guides,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I certainly have to wait until they come out of their bushwalk
Yes.
or their game drive 6, 7 in the morning before any admin. And I have to say, the guys are not really good admin wise.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So
definitely yeah. If you if your job is out in the bush, some people don't even have laptops, and you send them a big digital
exactly.
form.
And
Yeah,
just like, for example, a service level agreement. Um,
or 40
that's
pages
document,
long. Yeah,
I had
yeah.
to shorten it to at least 4 pages. And just a document like that, it's one thing to send it to them via email and say, please, can you fill this in, have it signed, send it back to me, because it's a supporting document. Um, when I upload it, it took about, for my one supplier, and this is Safari tours and travel, it took about a month
Mm.
for them to get back to me. Of course, it's frustrating because, as you know, in the UK, those things has to happen quickly.
Yeah, yeah, but help. But it's important to help suppliers and young entrepreneurs, or middle, whatever age entrepreneurs, understand the importance of certain things that have to be done. If you want to have a group of tourists, a group of travelers, a group of explorers in your home, you have to make sure that your home is, that you've got that your home is
Yeah,
safe, and the person's not going
absolutely.
to slip on the stair and break their ankle, because then you are liable. No? So you have to have insurances and all that in place. It's just one of those unavoidable facts of life, unfortunately.
Absolutely, yes. And of course, even doing a risk assessment, when I talk about, the wildlife volunteering that we do, those guys had to do all those kind of tests and make sure health and safety is sorted. And sometimes it feels like sometimes they're very blasé about it, or they would verbally tell me what the process is, and I'm like, it needs to be on paper.
Mm,
It
yeah,
needs to be in the agreement. You need to document it. Um, so it's taken a bit of time, but I have to say, we are getting there, and I think they also start understanding the importance of it. And not that I'm saying they don't. Um, I've just said to them, if I want to promote you, if I want to do business with you, please understand that my business is also under, a lot of scrutiny, rules, and regulations in the
absolutely.
UK. And
Yeah,
I am going to operate according to law here. I don't my business doesn't operate, it's not registered in South Africa.
mm,
So by law, it's UK law, travel association, travel regulations here. And that was a hurdle that you have to get over. But yeah, and I also have to say, if you don't have those things in line, then unfortunately I can't do business with you.
yeah, yeah. But that's, I mean, that's what a lot of these businesses, I think, are coming to, understanding through mentorship, such as yourself and others that are based in South Africa. SATS is a great resource as well for people to give. SATS is the Inbound Tourism Association. For those that don't know, I used to be on the board for many years of SATSA. And for any young entrepreneur that's looking to start up, that is a great resource. If
Mm,
you are SATSA bonded, you probably more than likely are able to work with whoever from any around the world. Once your documents are in place, and it just gives you that bit of
mm,
extra accreditation as well. There are lots of other associations as well, but SATS is kind of the most well known inbound tourism association. I've just also had a thought that I want to introduce you to some of my colleagues in Botswana and Kenya and Uganda, because as you expand, which I'm sure you will, there are some great
mhm.
opportunities to take part in community development and programs in those parts of the world too. So I'll make a note to introduce you to
Yeah,
those
I think
partners
you
too.
have introduced me to the guy from Botswana. I still have his card here, and I mean, I think Botswana is definitely, next country on the list for me,
Yeah.
including Malawi. And it's really a guy that I met on Clubhouse,
Mm.
and this is how we got to know people,
It
as
was
you
a
know,
great couple of
Graham.
years. I've actually gone back onto it because it proved so valuable. And
Yeah,
even if it's not in just in travel, there's so many other things that I'm learning and so many other rooms that I join. And and I feel like I owe it to the developers of Clubhouse, because they did help me so much in my business. So to be able to just
yeah.
support them by listening, it's a kind of a no brainer, because I'm learning, I'm supporting them, and it does give you that sense of community that we all need and that we all lacked during lockdown.
Yes, yes, and I think yeah, like the guy from Malawi, and it's people that's like-minded that really are passionate about the communities that they operate in as well, and
Mm,
someone from Kenya. So there are a few countries that I would love to add, but
I'll
for
help
the
you.
moment, South Africa, is still
Yeah,
very much
you
on
gotta
my
get
heart.
it. Yeah, you gotta get it up and running. But a lot of people like to combine, especially in
Mm,
the Southern Africa region. Can you discuss some like educational expeditions that you offer for students in culture, community, wildlife, conservation?
conservation. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all of our tours, whether it's volunteering, whether it's the leisure tours, and even the educational tours, has an aspect of culture, community, and conservation in it. So, we intertwine those three things with all of our tours. The educational tours is really aimed at obviously students, university students. I had the privilege last year, November, to be a guest speaker at the University of Surrey.
Oh wow.
They, yeah, they brought in entrepreneurs, and afterwards, I was speaking with some of the deans of the tourism um, faculty, um, and was sharing with them just about how a trip to South Africa can be really educational. Of course, you can do the tourism education, but you can also do culture, community, and conservation. And they were quite interested. And so it's just a continuous about sharing it. But for example, I think with educational expeditions, I would love to take groups from here to learn more about the indigenous people of South Africa. It is a topic that students even do, on university level. They discuss it, they really talk about it. And I think the indigenous people of South Africa are not given the 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 platform enough or the spotlight enough.
Mm,
And I have a few connections and people that I know that does wonderfully in that area, that are from indigenous backgrounds. I am sure my roots are in the indigenous people of South Africa as well. So I would love groups to know more about that. And again, it will be a collaboration with people in South Africa that are experts on this topic, that are passionate about the indigenous people. um, so those are the tours we would love to do. And then in terms of conservation, South Africa has a conservation culture,
mm,
really. And I think when I worked in a travel company in South Africa, we did do conservation expeditions, and we worked with UK big clients. And I got to know some conservationists and ecologists, and we've put together proposals and things that we want to send out to other universities. So if there's a group that wants to do 2 weeks or a month in a conservation area, wildlife conservation, we are able to do this service as well. So yeah, we it's all about education. Even if we do a culture tour, even if we do a community tour, it's about educating our travelers about what South Africa is all about and what the people are all about.
sounds amazing. I mean, there's so many people that want to do that, and I mean, do you get people that could work with like anti-poaching units and stuff like that as well?
Yeah, I think in the wildlife volunteering uh, tour trips that we do, we volunteers are exposed to conservationists or ecologists, and they do have sessions that they have lectures on it really, and how anti-poaching efforts that reserves are doing, just giving travelers a little bit a peek into the challenges that there are in conservation in wildlife in South Africa. Um, but yeah, it's all educational. I only had my first safari about 5 years ago, when the business I worked for actually sent me um, to the Kruger. And I can't explain to you. It's the first time I come from Cape Town. I've never been exposed to
Mm. Yeah, it's
huge
incredible.
animals. It
Incredible.
was overwhelmingly wonderful.
Yeah, the thing, the sad thing, and it has come up in other interviews as well, is how inaccessible some of the tourism products of
Yeah,
South Africa are to South Africans and Africans, and they're priced for international tourists, but and the
yeah.
locals can't afford them, and
Absolutely.
it's
And I don't know if you saw during lockdown how domestic tourism really came to
yeah,
life
yeah,
in South Africa, and
absolutely,
how those prices dropped,
yeah.
and how the locals could actually enjoy their own country.
Yeah,
And
I
I'm
think a
very
lot of
happy about that.
yeah, no, it's great, and I've always said, that those properties that did do that can't just forget the South Africans. Once the internationals come back, the South
Mm,
Africans, because I honestly think that if you're looking at a safari and 3 meals a day and accommodation and stuff like that, two safaris, some lodges were doing it for 1,500 rand or something. I don't know, and that was a
mm,
while back. But I mean, it's
mm.
if it's very very affordable. Um,
It's doable. I
yeah,
think it's doable. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, so I mean, it's definitely something that can be looked at, I think, and and carried forward.
Yeah, and something that's important to me as well, Graham, as I said, with whatever we do, we try to combine culture, community, and conservation. And with our volunteering program, which is in a reserve just outside of Johannesburg, this reserve sits next to a community. And when I spoke to some of the guides uh, that works in the reserve, they were telling me that the community has never been into this reserve because
Incredible.
they can't really afford a game drive. And you know what it costs.
Mm,
They can't really, you know. And one of the guys, which I will be working with, has taken it on himself to bring some of those kids into the reserve.
mm,
He started his own little business, sidetrack safaris. He is a, a a guide, a field guide in the reserve. But he said to me, Chantal, there's no way that they ever can get to this reserve because it's not really affordable.
mm,
And if I don't do it and he comes from the Hammanskraal community, he doesn't see anyone doing it.
yeah.
So that connection between conservation and community is also important to me. That
Of course. I mean, you have to show them the beauty of what needs to be
yeah,
protected.
they don't appreciate it because they don't see it, they don't know
Yeah,
it. And he said to me that, we can hear the roaring of the lions,
but we've never seen one.
Chantal, but we've never seen one because it's pricey to get into the reserve. And as only, as you said, it's for our international guests.
No, no,
And I
that's
would
rubbish.
love to get to a place where our old people can enjoy the South Africa, that we love so much.
Well, I mean,
And
that's great. Yeah, I mean, let's keep shouting that from the rooftops. I think it's important that communities, as you say, imagine living hear the roar of the lion, but you've never seen a lion, and and how can we possibly hope to stop poaching and stop all that kind of stuff when people don't understand the beauty and the importance of what they're trying to protect, what needs to be protected. Show people,
yeah,
get them in, and you're
mm,
creating tomorrow's passionate workforce, and you're creating tomorrow's word of mouth advocates for your product. It's
yeah.
yeah,
And even for them thinking about, that they can become,
yeah, rangers
field
and
guides and rangers, that
yeah,
it's actually for all of us. So, and I think this is what he's doing, is exposing, he's taking high school students and he takes them in now and again. and really exposing them and saying to them, this can be you.
Mm,
This, you can do what I'm doing. Um, and how wonderful would it be when we have, as you say, educated, um, citizens that know how important our animals are and how to, preserve life and land. Um, but we have to expose them to it. We
mm.
can't just say, don't kill the rhino, or, people
Don't
do it
don't
for
kill the
all
rhino,
kinds
but
of
you've never seen
reasons.
a rhino. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. So, I mean, please, can you like put him in touch with me? I'd love to interview him and get him a bit of exposure on the
Oh, yeah,
podcast.
I'll
Yeah,
definitely.
because it's
Yeah.
so important that people get to hear. Because it's not all doom and gloom. People are investing in some communities. We just need to make sure that it's done across the board. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely a huge thing that needs to be done, and encouraging. Yeah, I mean, if we're trying to grow tourism, we're trying to grow jobs, teach people what they can do to have a job and in this wonderful interest industry. If you're not exposing
Hmm.
them to the lodges and all that kind of stuff, they, all that first-hand community knowledge of growing up in the bush and all the storytelling that can be done to help tourists really immerse themselves in the culture is lost.
Hmm.
And it
Yeah.
it it
And I want to share one thing because the ecologists that I do work with, Stefan is a wonderful guy that I met while working for a travel company. And when we were sitting down and just trying to write a proposal, um, on conservation and how tourism influences and, the aspect, how much a tourism add to conservation. Um, I said to him, Stefan, we need to include a little bit of community. We need to have people that's from the area or was from the area, and we need a little bit of their insight. And he said to me, Chantal, these field guys, they know it so well. This is their land. They can smell a lion a mile away.
mm,
Unfortunately, we don't expose that guys too much. We don't give them opportunities too much. They just seem to be the guy that sits in front of the game drive. But
mm,
that guy is so precious.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
he's so much knowledge. And I was, how do we transfer that knowledge into the next generation? And Stefan was such a darling and said to me, Chantal, I would love to help you with that. Just tell me what to do. But I cannot tell that story. He's obviously a white South African. And he said to me, because this story is just going to be authentic when it's told by the people.
mm,
And that's why I love working with him, because we both have the heart that we grow our people and grow opportunities, and as you say, create jobs for our people. But there's this respect of let the people tell the story themselves.
yeah,
The people of the land, the people of the area, the people of that community. And I think Themba Travel wants to do that. When I go into Paarl in the Cape Winelands, it's the guy in the Cape Winelands that has been raised there and know the area that's going to be my driver.
mm,
Um, he knows it better than anybody else. So the stories of the people is what makes me wake up in the morning and say, I'm doing this.
yeah. And I think
How
it
it's tough, Graham.
absolutely. No, awesome. I mean, with more and more people like yourself is going to be the, help that continue. It's, if people could see the multitudes of people earning seven figures a year salary, sitting in a boardroom, kind of deciding what needs to be done with tourism, but without those people on the ground, they wouldn't even have a job. And I think it's unappreciated
Mhm.
at the top. I don't think that everybody in the chain, even from consultants, from the person on the phone who's talking to the somebody overseas planning an itinerary, every single person in this ecosystem has to be equally valued, because a chain
Mm-hmm.
is only as strong as its weakest link. And you know, we have to make the chain strong.
Yeah.
And you know,
And it
it's
instills such a pride, Graham, into the local people.
mm,
They are so proud that I know the guys from Wellington, that they have designed or co-designed with me a travel experience, and they feel so proud.
mm,
It's that we've done this, we've used our resources around us, we've listened to the stories around us, and we've created a travel product. Um, so it goes far beyond the profits that's made. It's about the value that you add.
mm,
And I think our people have so much potential to add so much value. Um, but you have to let them also know they are valued. Yes,
mm.
and they have the right, like anyone else, to represent South Africa.
Of course, and also that pride will hopefully root out any elements of criminality within the community that's
Yes.
destroying, uh, people's livelihoods. If everyone has that pride, and 1% or even less is kind of destroying that with criminal acts, then expose those people and rise
Mm,
up and root them out. Because if you've got a job, if this is how you feed your family, but some guys going around, uh, destroying it, then yeah, then we need that, as you say, that pride, that community spirit
mm.
to that Ubuntu that everybody knows
Yeah.
South Africa all too well for, that sometimes gets forgotten, I think.
Yes, and that Ubuntu. Yes, it's there. We have to create opportunities
Mm,
for people. And sometimes those opportunities is maybe, you're in for a long run. I know with community-led tourism, it's really not just for now. You in for a long run. You
mm,
in for long relationships with people,
mm,
because you constantly building each other, and you are collaborating. What I bring, my strengths, and what they bring. I mean, they the people on the ground. They are my strength on the ground.
mm.
But creating that opportunity, and I wish more and more of our South African operators can see that as
Yeah,
well.
look, I think it's coming. I think what COVID did was force people to take a bit of a step back and relook at themselves as human beings, relook at their business, relook at their business model, and figure out where they want to go for the rest of their lives. I think everybody kind of got a huge shock. Um, those that physically survived, I think there's a different focus now. It is just we all part of because the virus was indiscriminate. Rich, poor,
Mm,
whatever religion, color, whatever you were, you there wasn't it was an
mm,
indiscriminate that could have got anybody, and there was nobody above it, no matter how rich they were or powerful or
mm,
whatever. I mean, how many
mhm,
how many politicians and presidents got COVID as well, and poor old Boris Johnson was in the emergency ward. So I mean, it didn't,
yeah,
yeah, it didn't
yeah.
discriminate. So I think that there is a newfound focus for the human race. I don't know if you agree.
Mm. Absolutely. And living in the UK, that there's so much more conversation about humanity, about where we spend our time and how we impact,
Mm,
socially or environmentally, the places we visit. Um, so there's an awareness of that we can do so much more. Um, there's an awareness that we need to respect host destinations. We need to appreciate. So, yeah, I'm excited. There is, like you say, that newfound focus. I hope it continues. But for Themba Travel, this is what we are about, and we will continue like this.
Yeah, and that's great, and I think it will. So, I mean, there's two questions I like asking guests. What would you like to see still that needs to change in the tourism industry as a whole? What do you think? What would your wish list be of a couple things, or one thing in particular that you'd like to think? Okay, if we get that right, we onto something good. Yeah.
I think for me, representation, of women in the industry is important. I have been able to meet up and be introduced by incredible women who started travel companies within the COVID period. And it's all women that has the sense of we can do so much more and we can respect the people so much more. And it's not really profit driven, just it's
Mm,
value driven as well. And I'd love to see more women representation that are founders of travel companies.
mm,
As you know, here in the UK, it's a very different story, and I wish there were more.
yeah.
And I wish also in South Africa that we would have more women founders. Um, but I have to say, as I said to you, sitting in the Cape Town Women in Tourism chapter, I was surrounded by founders.
Mm,
Um, we just need to find them.
yeah.
I want UK operators to find them, but
Yeah.
they are there. They
Yeah,
are
well, I mean,
there.
that's the
So,
thing. The thing about UK operators is that you can be the voice here in the UK of those women that you're talking about in those businesses, and then
mm,
you become that centralized point of contact for those products that people are looking for, and I think that's what you need to do. You need to get your name out there as if somebody comes through and they're looking for a particular journey
mhm.
that everybody thinks, Themba Travel.
Yeah, that's
That yeah.
that's the dream.
Yeah, look, and nothing ever became a reality without first being a dream. So just remember that, and
Yeah,
yeah, there's every human accomplishment started with an idea. So that's what we need to keep remembering. Even landing on the moon and whatever, it all started with someone saying, "I think we should go and do that." So yeah,
yeah,
don't underestimate the power of an idea and the power of a dream. So and
yeah.
so yeah, I mean, just quickly before we wrap up, I mean, thank you so much. It's been such a wonderful, motivational, inspiring conversation, and I'll put all your contact details in. So if there's anybody in South Africa listening, or in Africa, or that wants to highlight their product or service to Chantal, the email address and website will be in the description, and she'll,
They can also find me on LinkedIn.
yeah, LinkedIn, I'm sure, Instagram, Facebook. You like me, you just like everywhere. You pop up
Yeah,
everywhere. But that's the way you have to be. I think
yeah.
you have to kind of just be everywhere. So what is the
Mhm.
what do you think the has taught you about yourself in the last 3 years during COVID? What traits about yourself that you didn't realize that you had, that you kind of were forced to have?
I, I I hate to sound cliche, but it's that resilience.
Yeah,
I just, I there wasn't a moment, Graham. I have to say there wasn't a moment in the last 3 years that I said I'm giving up.
good.
Not one moment. And at times it was very difficult because
It still is. It's not.
it
We're
still
not out of
is
the woods yet.
difficult for me.
We're not out of the woods yet, and that's what trying to tell people as well. Don't we're not talking about the struggle as if it was past tense.
Yeah,
A lot of people are still in it,
yeah,
and that's why there is still the spirit of camaraderie, because it's people who are listening, who are struggling, mustn't feel, well, they've done something right and I've done something wrong. No, we there's a lot of people still in the
yeah.
woods trying to figure out where the hell that clearing is. And yeah.
Absolutely. And I would say the struggle is real and the struggle continues.
Mm,
Because as anyone know, as an entrepreneur, it's only what you put in that really gonna reap. And No, I haven't come to a point of having multiple bookings, and people going. No, I'm still very much in having to market constantly.
Mm,
As I said, becoming part of a travel association now might open up doors. I have seen one or two people reach out to me. That's wonderful. But at the end of the day, for me, it's opportunities to create more positive social impact to South Africa. Um, and, unless it's not a clear booking and it's paid for, I still have to work at it. I
of
still have
course.
to work hard at it. And yeah, we're still in that struggle. That's true, Graham. And I would just encourage everyone to just keep on going. Keep on going, because what we're trying to do is we want to bring equality. We want to bring dignity. We want to impact people's lives, not
Mm,
just for the now and for a great trip. It should be lasting.
yeah,
And if you're in for lasting, you're in for a long ride.
yeah. And so, what would you say to a young business that wants to highlight their product to you, that is sitting in, and with an idea? How would you encourage them to go forward and to not give up, and yeah, just a bit of motivation?
I think for me, it's what has kept me over the last 3 years and still is becoming part of a network, part of a group, part of a women in tourism chapter, part
Mm,
of because you cannot do this on your own. However long you've tried, and yes, you make decisions in your business, but you still need a network of people around you for when those days come when you don't really believe in yourself and your product, then there is always someone that's going to encourage you and say, no, continue.
mm,
um, I've been very privileged here in the UK. There's one big, well, I won't say big, but an organization that I, from the beginning, actually through COVID, gotten to know, the Women in Travel CIC. It's a social enterprise. I honestly think if it wasn't for that group of women and these men as well, just that monthly meeting of talking through your ideas of and you will be amazed once you're in a network. People look at your business from different sides and they have different questions, so you are able to take those questions, answer those questions of the network around you, the people around you. It's been a great support. It will always be a great support for me because, as I said, you just cannot do this on your own.
no, that's
um,
yeah, that's 100%. Yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
and that's
And I
yeah.
mean, I met you as well, which is such a great inspiration. And it's just, keep on going, Chantal, keep on going. When I look at what you do and what you advocate for, it's like, because I don't know about you, Graham, sometimes I do feel lonely in the UK because
Mm,
you're a South African that's been dropped
yeah,
on this island.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I
And
just look at it
you're
as
not really part of it. You try to be in it. Your heart is back home in Durban.
yeah, but you've got to
So it's tricky, but it's good to see people like you and say that we're doing this anyway.
yeah. No, no, good. I mean, that's the thing, to be here on the ground, to create an ambassadorial position for ourselves, for Africa as a whole. You do need us. So even though we are, the industry needs people like us, and that's what you've got to just keep reminding yourself, is your importance in the chain of what is needed in order to get that small business to have people visiting and buying products, and being able to experience that. It's your, don't underestimate your role even though you say it's your heart is back home, whatever. But it's you get to visit back home, hopefully
Yes.
often, and definitely the heart is back home. But the body has to be here in order for to enrich everybody else's hearts. I mean, I know that sounds cliche and corny, but it's the role that we play on this side is definitely
Yeah.
needed. If it weren't for people like us on this side, there would be far less opportunity for people on that side to showcase their products. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
And I have to share with you this. When I came and I wanted to do this here in the UK, I knew that if I do it here, it would have a bigger impact than being at home.
of
I think
course.
I would have not probably been seen back home and drowned,
But you need to.
just,
I mean, this is where the people that you are taught. This is where the tourists are. This is the where the business
yeah.
is. You need
Yeah.
to
So
shake.
I
Yeah,
felt I need to position myself here,
of course.
and and I will endure it here because it's a better place to position myself.
And your
And as you
business. Yeah.
said, you can have more people come through you to your, women-owned, youth-led businesses.
Mm,
But for me, in body and spirit, I need to be here.
of course.
And I will endure the cold today.
Yeah. Yeah. No, just put another jersey on. That's what I always say. It's when I left
Says the
Durban.
man from Durban with the
Yeah,
beach background.
yeah. When I left Durban. I think it was like 35 or something, and I was like, I cannot. I actually couldn't wait to get to like 5 degrees. I'm like, my God. So it's yeah. Look, I think in any situation, I think what I've learned about myself is just to
Mm,
focus on the positive. So when you talk
mm,
about whether living in the UK as an expat or whatever's going on in your life, business, personal wise, it's okay. Well, what's going right, And I joke about leaving 35 to come to 5, but it's that kind of thing. It's like, okay, well, cool. I'm not going to be drowning in sweat. I'm not going to be boiling hot. Even though my family and a lot of my friends are still in South
mm,
Africa, but it's that just take every day as it comes and say, okay, what's going right
mm.
today,
Yeah,
and then when you wake up tomorrow, what's going right tomorrow, and it's a lot of people
mm.
talk about time as well. As the clock strikes midnight, jump up and down for joy. Make out that it's Christmas Day because now you've got 24 more hours to do something great with.
Have
It's
your optimism.
no, but you have to look at it that way. It's
Yeah.
like I'm trying my best. Not that I'm I do have off days. Getting up earlier and earlier.
Mm,
There's nothing better than watching a sunrise because it's sometimes, especially in the UK during winter, it only comes up 7:30 or 8 or something like that. But if you've got 2-3 hours of work done even before the sun rises, that is such a nice feeling. And
yeah, and absolutely, living close to the ocean here in
yeah.
Bournemouth is just very special, and it's a beautiful, bright day. And as I said, yes, it's what you're doing, your passion that you know, the thing that you feel that you've purposefully have to do. It's what wakes you up, and you appreciate the day. You appreciate the sunshine.
Mm.
It's like what can today bring, and what can I bring today to the industry or to clients or
I
to.
used to hate Monday mornings. Now I love Monday mornings. Now I'm like, sitting on a weekend, I'm like, come on, let's get to Monday morning so I can get back to work. So that
I'm still
people
working
start
on that.
yeah, so people start answering mails and you can actually get things done.
Mm,
It's yeah, for me that's to say what I've learned about myself is just the need to focus on what's going right. So many things were going wrong, and
mm,
it's yeah, look, I mean, it's as I say, no one's perfect. Some days are harder than others, but
mm,
it literally is just yeah, just smell the
mm.
roses, man. There's enough of them, and if it's
Absolutely.
bucketing down with rain in the UK, be thankful for all the plants and the vegetables that are getting
Yeah.
water. You know,
Yeah, I love the rain. I mean, I know the UK people do not like the rain, but I love the rain. And every day brings something special to it, It rained the other day, today the sun is shining. It's just love every moment.
no, you have to,
Um,
and
yeah.
be proud and it's opportunities like this. Hopefully a lot of people will be listening to this and hear the pearls of wisdom, and you just never know. I mean, a lot of people most of the people I've interviewed so far are entrepreneurs, and you just never know. Sometimes it feels like you're going through the motions and you're posting this and you're posting that and you're writing articles and you're doing this and you're doing that, but you just never know that one thing might spark something in somebody, and all that hard work pays off. It's just a matter of patience, and it's just a matter of self-belief, and a matter of reaching out to people when you need to. I think we all know that we can pick up the phone at any time and just say, today is not a good day, and it's okay to have those days. If you're going through a bad day, I've had to do it myself. I've had to say, today's, like, in this moment, it's a bad moment, but I will get through it. And then an hour later or something, I don't just throw in the towel. You just got to say, right, this is, you know in your own mind when you're having a bad moment or a bad day, and just get through it.
I must say, I do love the resilience, Graham, and South Africans just have so much resilience, and that pushing through. That I was reading something this morning again about how they're making fun of load shedding and all kinds of stuff. I just love how our people, even in difficult times, are able to laugh and are able to still have that Ubuntu amongst each other. And and for that reason, I have no reason to complain. I have all the reason to live life to the fullest and do the best I can.
Yeah, and put your head on the pillow every night and feeling proud that you've done something that makes somebody else's life a bit better, whether that's planning a trip for them, that they get to experience this, or helping the person that is offering the service. So don't underestimate your own power and the fact that you are trying to empower so many other people. You should be very proud of the path that you've taken. As you said, coming from humble beginnings, there's no reason why anybody else can't rise up and be the person that they'd like to be. So congratulations for everything you've done, Chantal. Hopefully this is just the start. Hopefully we'll be hearing a lot more of Chantal Potgieter, and I will definitely do my best to help you out. And yes, we'll introduce you to the members of my portfolio as well, that I think would be a great synergy for you. So thank you, Chantal, for taking time out of your day. I will definitely come and have a lovely pub lunch with you in Bournemouth one of these days. I've been saying that for 3 years, but I definitely will.
Come on.
I definitely will. Somewhere with lots of seagulls and by the sea.
So welcome. You're
Thank you.
Welcome. Come anytime.
Thanks.
We have room for you.
Oh, lovely. Lovely. And we can have some baboti.
Oh, absolutely. I'll go to the South African shop.
I'll bring what I can as well. I'll try to find some South African wine. Thanks, Chantal. And I will I'll put all your contact details in the description. If you could just say what's your website address and email address and as well.
Yes. So my website is www.thembatravel.com, and you could email me at Chantal, CHANTAL @thembatravel.com.
Beautiful. All right, great. So we'll get everybody to get in touch with you that way, and hopefully we see some lovely businesses that want to get in touch. Thanks again, Chantal.
Absolutely.
And thanks for being a guest on KuzaCast, and we will see you very soon.
Thank you, Graham.
Thanks, Chantal. Bye.
Thanks for tuning into KuzaCast, where we explore the world of tourism with leaders from all corners of the globe. Join me, Graham Watson, for future episodes as we dive into the latest trends and insights from the industry. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating, and we'll see you next time on KuzaCast.